Welcome back to Deep South Rust. On today's video, we're going to be looking into this New Holland 6640. A friend of mine dropped this thing off and wanted a few repairs done, and it's kind of turned into quite a project. What we started with, it was brought down here just to check the clutch out in the tractor. Figured out there really wasn't anything wrong with the clutch. It was just a safety lever on the inside that cable had broke. We got that pulled back up and got it repaired. Enough to keep the tractor running. Now, what he's decided to do was fix the air conditioning. He had both the side windows pulled out. The air conditioning hadn't worked for quite a while. The tractor was parked for about 18 months with nothing done, so we got it busted back off, got it running pretty good again, changed some filters, done a few other maintenance things to the tractor. I still got to do the air conditioning half of it. I've got the blower motor out of it, and currently looking for a complete blower motor assembly, as the plastic on this one was pretty wore out, really wasn't worth trying to fix. So we're in the process of trying to hunt a good blower motor assembly, the complete assembly, to go back in it. Now, when this tractor came in, it had spent years and years in the hayfield, never been under a roof. The paint was terribly faded. The fenders had some really bad spots in them. Somebody maybe had painted this thing once or twice over the years with an aerosol can, and it was, I'm not going to say it was a terrible job for an aerosol can, but it was extremely hard to get this paint back off to get a good, smooth, fresh coat back on it. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take you guys around and maybe give y'all a little bit better shot of this, and you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to tell you, I'm really not that great with this gimbal yet. It's kind of hard to function at times. But look, if you guys can take a look at this tractor, if you can see it in behind me here, this thing is shining really good to be 30-something years old, and being as long as it had set in the sun, you know, and we got to put this fresh coat of paint on it. This is actually probably $50 a gallon paint. It's a single stage paint. I painted it, turned around and wet sanded. I did get some orange peel in it. It's just the elements here. There's just really no way of getting around it. You're gonna get some orange peel, you're gonna get some dust. Best thing is put this thing after it's kind of set and dried a little bit. You know, take these parts, you lay them out around a shade tree somewhere where they're getting the heat from the sun, but not getting that direct heat on them. Let it cure real good. And then take it and put a light coat, just a light wet sand on it. Maybe a little Dawn dish detergent or something like that in there. 1500 grit. You'll know, just sand it lightly, wipe it off, dry it, and just look for the little orange peels, and you can keep going until there's really no orange peels, as long as you got 2 or 3, maybe 4 good solid coats of paint on it. But if you can take a look around this tractor, we're gonna get around my old rack right here. This old rack sometimes comes in real handy, but it gets in the way. But if you look at this tractor, man, this thing is really shining. I mean, you would never guess that this is $50 a gallon paint. It laid down really good. I think this stuff is called Van Slick or something like that. I don't really remember the name. I can go over and look at it. But this thing really come out with a good shine to be this cheap paint. But what we're going to focus on today is that roof. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it here. You can see what the paint used to be to what it is now. Pretty large difference. I mean, I'm pretty excited about that as far as the way it looks. I really kind of wasn't expecting to turn out as well as it did. And I may even try to use this on some cars or something at some point, you know, as well as it's done. And a lot of it would have probably been better if I would have I could have done a little better job of setting up my spray gun and not having all the proper dryers and stuff like that to run through. I just run this thing through like 2 or 3 filters and shot it. And this might not work for, you know, for a more expensive paint, something that you know, a little bit of water or a little bit of moisture, should I say, in the lines would probably really mess up. But this stuff right here, this equipment paint, this stuff is tough. It's hard to really mess that paint up as far as spraying it. But I'm gonna bring you guys up here and show y'all the roof and what I'm gonna be looking to do to the roof of this tractor. And I'm gonna try not to get y'all too drunk. holding this camera here, but we're gonna climb up, and we're gonna ease up here. And I've done painted all the black, most of the black. Some of it I haven't really done yet. But if you guys can take a look at this, y'all see these deep cuts. I'm assuming that this was probably whatever dented that nose cone of this tractor was probably fell across and busted this roof piece too. It's actually in two areas, but this area here is not near as bad. This one right here, we're gonna do this, the right way. And I'm gonna take my die grinder and I'm gonna cut this out. I'm just gonna kind of belly it out. And I'm gonna let the bottom, each side of the bottom lip of this just kind of come together where it's kind of overlapping. I'm gonna take that out of it. Maybe that's not the right way. And then I'll kind of cut this bottom edge down right here. If you can see it, I'm gonna cut that out and smooth it out. It's not gonna be cut drastically, just enough to smooth that out where I can get a good, solid, smooth line going across. So it's not so visible from the ground. We're not gonna focus as much on all this big top side. It'll get washed. It'll be washed and sanded, and paint will be shot up there. And trust me, it'll shine without a wet sand and a buff on it. But all this section right in here and kind of around this corner, if I can get you guys in, around that corner right there, all that I'll hit with a little bit of wet sand and a light buffing to really get a good shine back in this. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get you guys some kind of a camera view here somehow of how I repair this. It's gonna be a pretty quick repair. We're not gonna take a whole lot of time. We're not, guys, we ain't taking this tractor to no shows. This is a working tractor. This guy just wants it to look a little better in the hayfield. So, we're just gonna kind of deep south garage this thing up, or however we want to do it. It's just gonna be a quick job, get it looking better. It doesn't leak. The roof doesn't leak right there, so there's no worries of that. And we're not gonna cut that much out of it. So there's really not too much to worry about as far as water. It doesn't go all the way through. It's actually got double layered there, so it's not going to affect it. But I'm going to put you guys up in my recording device here that follows me that may or may not work the whole time I'm doing this. But we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to move you guys around a little bit and just get you maybe where you can see things a little bit better. Trust me, it's not going to be perfect. I got some other ideas for some better quality stuff coming. So you guys just kind of bear with me. Right now, you're going to be perched up on this old 49 Chevrolet to maybe watch what's going on. I may have to climb up here and try to get you guys in a good spot. Maybe that'll sit there. We hope. Maybe it won't fall over and the whole shebang bust, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, so what I'm going to start with, y'all can see my mess, you just kind of have to excuse all that. But what we're going to start with is we're going to start with this die grinder, just a 90-degree die grinder. We're going to cut this stuff out. We're going to take a cloth and lay it over the hood of the tractor so that we're not making a huge mess on what's already painted. It's not going to matter. Guys, all this will just wipe right off. So it's not going to be anything thick, nothing heavy, nothing real coarse or nothing like that on it. I'm not going to be standing on this hood. I'm just going to cover up what I've already painted. Nothing major, no big deal, right? All right, so this is not a really aggressive wheel I got. This is more of just kind of a sanding disc I've got on here. What I'm gonna do is always wear your safety glasses, and in my case, your bifocals, because you can't see. So I'm gonna grind this out. It's gonna get a little noisy. I'm not gonna talk much during this. Maybe I'll try to edit some of this out. I don't know. We're gonna get this edited and stuff shot here before long, before we just keep posting long videos. But let's see what we can do. There, to tell you the truth, it's probably going to be enough. I'm going to hit it just a little That's going to be plenty for what we need to do. We're not going to get real fancy with this. There's really no purpose in it. It's not going to be a show tractor. So let's get that blue off. And I'll probably mix up a little Bondo, wipe some on there, and we'll kind of go with that. I'm sorry you guys can't hear real well. That compressor is extremely loud. Quite annoying to listen to. There we go. And see what we can get going and start blowing all that stuff off there. Right there over the big pretty good. I'm going to move you back over probably this old, my little 4000 Ford video podium, I guess you could call it. I just kind of makeshift me a little spot for my camera to set for most of my videos. All right, we're going to mix up a little Bondo and put on this. One of the biggest things that I see is an issue with a lot of people is they're trying to put this Bondo on, and when they put it on, they're trying to make a finished result out of your first coat. Sometimes it takes maybe 2 and 3 times of putting this Bondo over it and sanding it off before you really get everything filled the way you want it. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take some flat black paint and I'll spray over that after I put a little primer on it, and I'll hit it with a block and use that as exactly what it says, a blocking coat. And I'll sand that off, and wherever my little low spots or high spots or whatever are, I'll see it in that black coat. But don't mix up so much that it dries out on you before you get it on what you're trying to form. But also don't be scared to lay a bunch on there. You can always take your cheese grater and grate that off and make it look a whole lot better. And you're not have to put so many coats on it, but you don't want to try to get that finished look on your first coat of Bondo. You just want to get you a good layer on there. You know, if you're just filling some small little dings or something, you may want to pull it smooth across, but something like we're fixing to do, I'm just going to lay this Bondo up there, and then here in about 20 minutes or so, after it's set for a while, I'll come back with my cheese grater and I'll hit that, maybe not even 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and I'll hit that and I'll form it with that grater. And then I'll hit it with my DA and I'll get it smooth. And hey, we might get this in one coat, but I doubt it. Let's get some mixed up here. I use, a lot of times what I do with my Bondo is I've got a little piece of plexiglass here that I'll use to mix this stuff up on. I just kind of keep it scraped off, keep the big stuff off of it. I'm not, you know, I really like to have an actual piece of glass, but I don't have one right now, and that's okay. This works just fine. Now, like I said, you don't want to mix up so much that it dries, and yeah, you know, sometimes I mix up more than I should. I'll have some dry out on me, and I just have to kind of throw it away, but you know, that's just kind of part of it. You're going to waste a little bit as much as you hate to. You are going to waste a little, but you just want to kind of save from those really big globs. But this ain't going to take but a second to get mixed up and wiped on there. And this stuff will dry pretty quick depending on the amount of hardener you put in there. Always kind of take your hardener and just kind of knead it around in your tube a little bit before you start dumping it out on top of your Bondo, because this stuff will be kind of liquidy, and you'll get a big pile of liquid come out to start with, and you really won't have any hardener in it, and that'll kind of mess up how well it hardens. So I'll just get me a little trial full right here and dump it on top. And guys, you know, this is really simple stuff. Pretty much anybody can do Bondo work. I wouldn't say there's really any skill to this at all. This is just kind of you learn as you go, kind of a trial and error type deal when you're mixing up this Bondo. This is probably, honestly, I'll probably have some waste out of this. Y'all probably see me sit here and just say, hey, don't put too much on there, and then I'll get way too much on this first time. But it'll be all right. We'll get it on there. If we don't, you know, it is what it is. We'll waste a little bit. I'm not gonna cry over it. All right, set the lid back on that. We're gonna get us a little hardener in here, and I probably put more hardener than some people do. I work this stuff probably a little faster than most people, but I'll put me an X across it. Add a little bit. That's a good bit of hardener. This stuff will probably harden pretty cotton picking fast, but I think I even want a little more than that. All right, so this is gonna harden fast, but it's okay. We'll get it on there. We'll start making my way over to my area as I mix this stuff up. Because I tell you, as much hardener as I just put in, I'm not gonna have a whole lot of time, but it's okay. We'll handle it. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're gonna take care of it. When we get done, it'll look good. Only make mistakes every now and again. Only every time I do something. But the main thing is always figuring out how you fix those mistakes. You know, not really. Nobody cares. Y'all don't care, do you? Nah, didn't think so. But, alright. So we're getting this stuff mixed up pretty good now, so I probably need to climb my way up here. And I'm gonna brace up here a little bit, because I don't need to fall off this on a Friday night. If I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna try to save it for maybe Sunday afternoon or something like that, and take the day off Monday. No, I'm not gonna take the day off Monday. I gotta have my job, fellas. This little side gig, look here. It helps you out, but ain't nothing beats a full-time job. This little side gig here at home, it don't pay the bills, fellas. It don't pay the bills. Good. But, now look, I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm not stressing out about how this looks to start with. I'll form all this, make it look the way I want it to look. When it's all said and done, I'm just getting this on here. And once I get it on here, I'll come back and I'll hit it with that sander. And time it's all said and done, you guys, once this thing's painted, I promise you'll never know this was up here. You'll never know there was a crack. You'll never know there was any Bondo in it. It's gonna look great. And this stuff on this fiberglass, man, this Bondo will hold from now on. It's not gonna come off. It's not gonna chip. It's not gonna break. It's gonna, it's gonna be here for a very long time. And I doubt very seriously that this tractor lives long enough to get another paint job in its life. But if it does, I can tell you I'll be the one to do it. So I'll know this little whoop-de-doo's up here, so I'll be careful to stay away from it as best I can. We're just gonna lay that old Bondo in there. I don't care how heavy it is. I'm gonna sand it back off. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of how much I actually put on here. All right, I'm gonna shut up for a little while, because I'm pretty sure you guys are about tired of hearing me yap about stuff that you probably don't really care about. I know I run into that sometimes on videos. Obviously, I can't shut up, so I'm sorry, guys. Guys, that's my little dog out here whining in the background. She thinks it's time for her to get some attention. She thinks I've already been with you guys a little too long. She's the life of the party around here. All right, I bet you anything, I probably won't even have to put no more on that. That's probably going to be good enough. Once it dries a little bit, we'll do a little sanding on it. But tell you what I'm gonna do in the meantime. I'm gonna get this stuff here cleaned up. I'm not gonna make y'all watch that. I'm gonna pause the video where it's at, and we'll pick back up here shortly. All right, it's been about 20 minutes or so now. This Bondo ought to be pretty good and dry, at least dry enough to hit it with this sander. I'm gonna start off. I'm just going to DA that because it's really not as much there as I thought I would put on it. I'm going to hit it with a 120 instead of an 80. Also, time I get it knocked down with this 120, I can probably go over it with 320, and we'll probably be pretty close to the ballpark of where we need to be for what we're doing anyway. All right, let me climb my way back up there. It'll be kind of noisy again, but be okay. I don't know if you guys can even see that. You can already see it kind of taking its form. Now, all covered up with this Bondo dust. We're going to hit it with a little more 120, and then we're going to break the 320 out. And I really don't tell you the truth, if this was something, you know, if this was a classic car, or if this was something that I drove every day, something I was trying to make a really, really nice ride out of, that'd be something I'd come back and probably Bondo again. But to be honest with you, you're not even going to know that's there. By the time I get it done with all this 120 and 320, it's going to be smooth, it's going to look pretty good. The naked eye, you're not even going to know it. kind of shocked me that it's come out this clean that fast. I really didn't think it would go that quick. But sometimes we get lucky, and I guess these jobs like this one, you're not expecting as much. You probably get a little luckier than others. Pepper's a little big from a D8. This is a Velcro style D8, which is harder, seems to be harder to find pepper for. I really like to have just a sticky pad tight. guy also does a lot of his paint and body work. I think it's DC Designs or something like that on YouTube. I watch him a good bit, and I can't, tell you the truth right off, I can't remember the guy's name. Well, that took off out of here, didn't it? I tell you what I need to get. He's got a little thing he's built to go on his sawzall. Kind of shakes these cans up. And I really probably need to get with him and see about buying one of those from him. Or maybe he would be like super nice, like donate one to the channel. Who knows? Alright, I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to be getting really close to the windows on this. Everything's going to be kind of an up spray when I come across the spot. And I'm just going to shoot some of this primer on here. And just cover this up. I think we're going to cover that bottom nose. And then I'll show you guys here after I get it all primed up how this spot actually turned out. It's actually pretty good to be. I mean, guys, what do I have in this? Maybe 20 minutes? I don't know. I may have a little more. I think I have a half hour, 45 minutes in it. But that's something else I need to get. I really need to get me, say, about an 80-gallon compressor. One that builds a little faster than that, because it don't take much to kick that sucker on. And that's a pretty good heavy coat of primer over all of that. That turned out pretty good to be the few minutes that it took me to do it. I'm gonna have to wash this tractor. I haven't washed it yet since I painted it. But I think that looks pretty good. Let's get a view of that up here. Let's see what we can do to pull you guys down. We'll ease around up here. Sorry, I'm really not trying to make y'all drunk, but I'm not the best cameraman. Let's climb up there and let's just take a look. If you guys can see, that's where it was at. Let me get a better grip here. As you can see, that's where it was at. That's where the busted spot was. I kind of grooved it out where I knew I could get a good coat of filler in it, so that it you won't. I mean, that'll never bust. I mean, you're talking fiberglass to Bondo. I mean, that's pretty much about as good as it gets for a cheap little fix, That edge probably wasn't as straight right in here as I would like it, but from the ground, I think it looks pretty good. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I think I'm gonna go in and get me a little rest, spend a little time with my granddaughter, and we'll get up in the morning and we'll restart over again. We'll get this sanded. We'll get to finish the top sanded. I'm probably not going to really block anything. I'll just kind of sand this down and scuff it good enough where I can get a good coat of paint on it, and we'll shoot this and the paint job of this tractor, it'll be done. We'll be done. It'll just, at that point, it'll be drying, curing, maybe do a little wet sanding and buffing right on these edges where I was just at. And outside of that, it's you know, as they say, man, it's a wrap. See you guys tomorrow.